And so we come back again to the borders. You know what that is. Language, you know what that is. Culture, you don't know. And one of the things conservatives want stopped is the sewer pipe putting out the fecal matter that's called humor that is coming out of Hollywood, primarily from guys like Larry David and other friends of his from Brooklyn, New York, most of whom don't even understand how vile they actually are. And that's why we're talking about it. Now you could say self-deprecating humor is in the age-old tradition of self-deprecation. But if you look further, it's not self that is being deprecated by Larry David. It is the Jewish people in general, the Christian people in particular. Again, the characters are all described as somewhat almost all the same. Almost every Jew on that show that is portrayed, whether it be the guy with the bug eyes who had a career 20 years ago and another has-been that he put on there. I forget who that guy is with the big eyes who had a drinking problem and he's on every other night, you know, because they think he's funny. He has a lot of has-been actors and comedians whose careers are over. He probably hires for a song, like an in crowd from Brooklyn, New York. And we're all supposed to wish we're on the in crowd with them all laughing in the restaurant. But, you know, it's hard to laugh when all four characters that are always on the show, Larry David, Richard Lewis, Jeff Garlin, and Susie Essman, with one of the most disgustingly vile mouths you've ever heard in your life, cursing like you can't believe. All of them shown as paranoid, selfish, uncaring, whining, complaining, unethical. Shall I go on? Dismissive, angry, judgmental, antagonistic, ungrateful. Shall I go on? And you say this has no effect on the culture as a whole. I disagree with you. And I am saying that we need to stand up and say enough is enough. Now, if it was just limited to putting down the Jews, you could say, okay, let's look away. But last night was the last straw for me. He pees on an image of Jesus. Urine gets on the eye of Jesus. The girl who owns the house thinks it's a miracle, and he doesn't tell him it's his urine. He doesn't tell the girl that he peed on the picture by accident. She thinks that it's an actual weeping Jesus portrait, and she's going to quit her job and go around the country and show people the miracle of the weeping Jesus. And he thinks it's funny, mocking Christianity. You know, I have talked about things like this for over 10 years. I talked about it when the Brooklyn Museum, for example, hired a so-called artist who dipped a crucifix in urine. And another so-called artist, another degenerate drug addict, who put another crucifix in elephant dung. This was all a joke, again, to the Brooklyn types of Larry David's friends from Brooklyn. And I don't understand where the Christian people are in this country. I don't understand where the Catholic League is in this country. I have no idea why they tolerate this. And you say, well, why are you bothering with this? Why do you take the time out? I mean, you should be talking about health care. I don't want to talk about it anymore. We know it's socialized medicine. We know that the gang just wants the health care reform to make trillions of dollars for their friends. I mean, we know that. It has nothing to do with helping people. It has to do with robbing taxpayers. So how many different ways do I have to say the same thing to you? I've said all of them I want to say about politics for a while. So now I want to go to you for a minute before we come back to some of the sound bites on this show. Stephen in Las Vegas, go ahead, please. You're on the Savage Nation.
Yeah, Dr. Savage. I just want to take a second to let you know, I mean, I'm a conservative person. I don't watch CNN and I can't stand anything. I watch Fox News, but it's all a bunch of lies for the most part. But listen to you all the time. Now, here's the context to the show. I've been watching it a lot. Sometimes it gets silly and a little intolerable. But if you look at all the four primary characters that you're condemning, they're losers, Mr. Savage. They're not winners. Larry David is forever on a quest to be loved. He's an idiot. Nobody likes him. No one can stand him. And the last night's show, I just want to correct you really fast here. He doesn't find out that she's a Catholic until after he fires her for her midriff. Her being fired has nothing to do with her being...
Wait. But he pees on the portrait of Jesus in her mother's house, doesn't he?
Absolutely. Now, that is 100% sacrilegious if you're a religious person. And they also take shots at Judaism. They don't take shots at any Islamic, people, but that's because we're paranoid about Islamofascism.
That's right, because the Muslims, to their credit, wouldn't tolerate it.
I'm not giving them a pass on anything.
Give them 100% for not tolerating that kind of defamation of their religion. I'm 100% for it to not put up with this garbage. I thank the Muslims for showing people what it means to be a believer of your own religion. You don't have to kill somebody to say, I'm not going to tolerate this.
Absolutely. But you do have to look at it. They are losers. These are not winners. These are washed-up actors like Richard Lewis. That's the name you're looking for. Larry David. They're losers. And you got to look at it.
But you see, the character is not shown as a loser. The character lives in a big house in Hollywood. The character is shown as a retired millionaire. The character is shown as somebody on the inn. The character is shown as somebody who knows all these Hollywood actors and actresses who come up to his table. So, no, I don't think he's projecting himself as a loser. On the contrary, I would like to correct you. He shows himself as a winner, and we're supposed to believe that all Jews who are winners are exactly like this angry, judgmental, antagonistic, ungrateful, dismissive, paranoid character. So I disagree with you, Stephen. I think you have to understand that there are ramifications to characterizations. I want to say that again. How many years did we argue against the use of guns in movies? Do you remember the 80s? I remember it as sure as I'm standing here in a sweatshirt right now. I remember it. I remember what happened in the early 80s. Every movie poster showed a starlet or a star with a handgun in their hand. Every movie that your child went to showed someone picking up a gun who probably never fired a gun in their life, killing somebody, random executions, torturing people, again by the same twisted minds that have produced this kind of show. So for years we said stop showing the gun violence in the movies. For years we said stop smoking cigarettes in the movies. There's a campaign to stop showing cigarette smoking in movies. Why? Because they darn well know that people are influenced by movies. They're very powerful. And concurrently, we're told, always show gay characters in a positive light. Always show minorities in a positive light. Always show immigrants in a positive light. And always mock Christians. And if you're going to mock Jews, make sure you're mocking the Orthodox, truly believing Jew. But under no circumstance are you ever to mock the non-believing, fallen Jew or Christian, because that is them. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Do you understand where I'm coming from, why I'm spending so much time on my show on this? Because I feel enough is enough. Somebody has to say something at some point to somebody. It may be true that I'm not heard by the Hollywood big shots. It may be true that they have successfully not permitted my voice to be heard in Los Angeles, and I know what's going on with them, and I know how they operate. But I still have a very large audience of people ranging from New York, Maine, New York, California, you name it. 10 million people. Somebody is listening to this show in the entertainment business. Somebody is hearing what I am saying. Somebody in the entertainment business who is very important. Both somebody loves me for saying this, and some very dangerous, powerful people in entertainment hate me for this, and they're going to try to make certain that I am punished for this by misquoting what I am saying, taking what I am saying out of context, and trying to do to me what the illegitimate drug-popping, pill-popping government of England did to me in England. But let me tell you something. He who laughs last laughs best. They didn't ruin me in England. They got ruined. Jackie Smith got fired after she tried to do this to me. And if you think I've rolled over, you're mistaken. I never quit. I always come out for the bell. I'm always ready for a fight that is righteous. I am going to fight this to the end of my days, and I'm going to win. My book, Banned in Britain, just came out. Many of you probably received it by today. That's just the beginning. Don't think because I stopped talking about Banned in Britain that I've given up or that it's over. Oh, no, my friends. The fight has just begun. And in the same way, I'll fight for what I think is right. And I am telling you, Larry David is not only, in my opinion, the epitome of the mentally ill liberal. You know, I wrote the book, Liberalism is a Mental Disorder. If these people don't look like mentally ill people cavorting as rich, successful Hollywood types who literally urinate on everything, including everyone's religion, I'd like to know what is an example of an insane person. Who would do a thing like this for a buck? Who would urinate on a picture of Jesus and mock a Christian woman as if to say all Christian women are fat and ugly and can easily be mocked because they're stupid enough to believe in Jesus? Who would do this? I'm asking you. Who in the world would publish a thing like this? Who in the world would produce a thing like this? Who in the world would promote a thing like this? Who in the world would broadcast a thing like this? The answer is people from Sheepshead Bay, New York, who run Hollywood. That's my opinion. Do you get it? Now, if it was limited to Larry Davis and Jews, you wouldn't be interested. The Sopranos were the same problem for the ordinary Italian. There was a comedian years ago you probably never heard of. He was before my time. In the 40s, my father used to tell me about him. It was a black man named Stephen Fetchit. He played a self-deprecating, servile black man in the most stereotypical manner. The whites loved it. They loved seeing a weak black man stooped over saying, yes, sir, to everything that the white man said and did. He made a fortune, Stephen Fetchit. I have said that Larry David is the Jewish Stephen Fetchit. I've said that to you. But you see, I wasn't around when Stephen Fetchit was around. I'm around right now while Larry David is around, and I'm saying enough is enough. What do you say? I'll be right back.
Savage.